I'm Janine. This is KUCI 88.9 FM in Irvine, and this is Get the Funk Out. I am so excited for my next guest. David Fishof is joining me, and he started Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp, and he's going to talk about his film, Rock Camp, the movie, and so much more. Welcome to the show.
Well, thank you for having me.
You know, I've been hearing about this camp for so long now. Let's back up, and because you have a really interesting background. Were you a sports agent at one point?
I started as a sports agent representing some of the New York Yankees and New York Giants, and I represented a lot of ball players, Rams, and I had about 35 players: Lou Piniella, Randy Myers, Phil Simms.
Wow.
I had a great sports practice for many years.
And were you musical growing up?
So I wasn't. My dad was a cantor, so there was music in the house. My brother Joey was a drummer. And I'll never forget when I met Ginger Baker, I said to him, I said, Ginger, I said, I heard two things in my house growing up, God and Ginger Baker. My brother was such a crazy Cream fan, and he was a drummer. So I grew up in Brockton, Massachusetts, and in Hackensack, New Jersey. But I wasn't really a music fan. I was really a sports fan. And then I was sharing office space, in New York with Shep Gordon, the manager of Alice Cooper, and Gary Kerfis, who managed Talking Heads and Ramones, and he had all the great acts.
I love those bands.
Yeah, he had all those bands. And I remember Joey Ramone walking by my office, and we all had the same accountant, so we shared a big office space. And representing all these ball players, and it was all about show me the money, show me the money. And I always was a little jealous that they had all these gold records and they were creative. And that's what really moved me to want to get in the music business. So I started, my first band was the Association, and I started packaging tours with the Association and Gary Puckett and the Union Gap. And I started this program called a tour called Happy Together Tour. I did that for 2 years. And then 1986, I brought the Monkees back as, part of it.
I saw that.
And that's how it all started.
Unbelievable. And the guitars hanging up, are these all musicians that have come to the camp?
Every musician comes to the camp. All I ask them is, can you sign a guitar for me? And so I have really hundreds of guitars. They're all autographed to me. So, I'm not going to sell them on eBay. And
right.
But
cool.
Yeah, I wish I could play. I tried, and I tried playing. I came to the F chord. I couldn't get my finger over the fret. So, I'm definitely frustrated, wannabe.
Yes, but we talked about this before we started. When I watched the film, I thought, look at the magnitude, the lives that David is touching. And we talked about fear. What does it feel like to see these people that come from all walks of life, whether they're chiropractors, whatever they do, coming in, spending this time and walking away a little less fearful or more confident?
Well, to me, that's what it's all about. And I was so glad that Doug Blush, who did 20 Feet from Stardom, he's done many, many films he's edited. I was really blown away how he was able to take the biggest issue that we have in camp is the fear factor. I mean, how many people, you're gonna get scared to sign up and play with Jeff Beck or Roger Daltrey or.
Of course.
It's scary. Now I get it, because one of my dearest friends invited me to go to Michael Jordan basketball camp, and he has a fantasy camp. And I said, I'm not going to Michael Jordan. I'm not going to try to shoot one-on-one with him and then play 3-on-3 with a bunch of guys who think they could be in the NBA, even though they're over 40.
Sure.
And I'm, so I wasn't going to go. I turned my friend down. I said, no, I'm not going. So anyways, that's the problem we had at Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp for many years. People are scared to come.
Yeah.
But the ones who come, unbelievable how they grow. And there's thousands of them who really are able to break their fears. Number one, if you play with someone that's better than you, you're going to elevate your game.
Sure.
But I think more important, these rockers, they don't care if you're a beginner. They don't care if you're great. It's about putting a band together. Yeah. And I compare it to, we were talking before we started how much of a Patriots fan I am. Every year Bill Belichick wins. He wins because he knows how to put a team together. They all get the same draft picks. But he puts a team together, and that's what it is about.
That's what you do.
I don't do it, but the rock stars do. They know how to put a band together.
Yeah, it's a wonderful documentary. I love seeing how, for instance, there was this one woman who She has a full life. She's a mom, you know, she works, but she's a drummer as well. And that's a very important aspect of her life. But also she decided to be brave and sing. And you talked about how, you know, you can be a beginner. How does that work? I mean, do you come in and you give in these songs and you learn them or over the few
Right.
days?
So you sign up to camp and you're given a group of songs to learn. You
Okay.
can learn them. You don't have to learn them because, but most people come in prepared,
Yeah.
and based on your application, and you fill out a form, what music you like, where you are musically. Now we're starting to ask you to send in a Zoom or to play something for us, and this a video. So we try to group the musicians, you know, alike. Now I will
Yeah.
tell you that, you know, we used to do a battle of bands. We don't do that anymore. But I found that certain rock stars said, you know, David, give me the worst band. You know, Spike Gedney of Queen, he said, give me the worst band. And you know, and then Alan White from Yes would say, I want the best band because you know prog music is hard to play.
Sure.
So basically, I've seen Spike Gedney take the worst band and make it the best band because
Really?
it basically shows everybody what to play.
Yeah.
And you know, he came up with some great you know, different ideas of like 50 medleys, you know, the licks. I've seen such great creativity at camp. So you know, listen, to make a band you have to learn to listen. I've learned that.
Yeah.
And you got to learn to take direction. And I just think that yeah, it don't matter who you are, beginner, intermediate, we'll put you in a band, and you'll walk out of there with the motivation to want to play more and enjoy. And that's what's great about camp. These
Right.
musicians have gone and they have you know, formed bands, and they've recorded and they've made albums, and that's the exciting part.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times, you know, you can play a musical instrument when you're younger and then you give it up, you know, life takes over. But to see people doing this professionally that want to encourage you to continue doing your passion is incredible.
And to play in a band, it's so different than playing in your living room,
Oh yeah.
and you
Or
know,
your
in
bedroom
your
or
bedroom,
anywhere.
right? To get into a room with other people and to get through that barrier. And what I loved about the film is that whether you want to be a musician, whether you want to be a DJ, whether you want to write a book, whether you want to create an app, everybody has an idea, but most people are scared. I'm not as good. I can't do it. And the film shows you that these people do it through music, and
Yeah.
you can do this. You know, it's really that's what it means a lot. That's what the film means to me. Take your ideas and whatever you want to do, and you can do them. Just get over the fear.
Sure. I had this, I mentioned to you before we started, I wanted to get back to guitar when I was living in Boston. And I had just gotten out of a relationship and I kept having this dream and I was an amazing guitarist. And it happened like 3 nights in a row. I woke up the third day and I said, this is ridiculous. This is a total message. Come on, get your ass out of bed and do something about this. And I found a teacher who had gone to Berkeley and I studied with him for 9 years. But I feel like you got to go for it. You know, if you have this passion, you know, when I was a little kid living in Manhattan, I would stare at guitarists. I would go up on this empty dance floor and just stare at the guitarists. I was 8 and I just knew at 10 when I started playing that this was just something in me.
Well, you know, I love Joe Perry at our one of our camps. You know, he was doing a Q&A, and he asked somebody, they were asking questions, and he asked someone, so what do you do for a living? So, oh, I'm a doctor, and weekends I play guitar. And he said, no, no, no. He says, you're a guitarist first. You do that medical crap to pay for your guitars. And the guy said, yeah, that's me. So, you know, I love that because the musician's really a musician first, no matter what level. That's what they want to do.
Sure.
And I love that that to me is the best part of camp, is to see people come in and get to the next level. And you know, that's what it is for me. And you know, every day I get an email from somebody, thank you so much. And you know, I'm doing this now, I'm doing that now. Last night I got one from a gentleman who came to camp 20 years ago, and his son came to watch him. He said, my son got an Emmy. And he said, David, it's because you motivated him, and you know, you showed him at camp that he can do something. So I've you know, so many people, they come to that camp, it's magic. And what makes it magic? It's the rock stars.
Oh
It's,
yeah.
it's the people, the combination of both. If these people wouldn't give of themselves to you know, share their knowledge, and you know, they're not there. I'm like, listen, I'm here promoting a film. Most time you do an interview, they're promoting something, they're promoting a gig, or here
Sure.
they're giving you strictly knowledge that is just what's best for you.
Mhm.
And so that's what I really love. It's really pure.
I feel like when I see the relationship form between the bandmates and then, the professional players, there's nothing like it. I mean, you can see, people overcome their fears. They, have this feeling of, you know what, I think I can do it because other people in the band are believing in me. It's wonderful.
Every rock star will tell you that they met their best friends at rock camp. This is not a
Oh,
meet and greet. I come in and I take a picture, goodbye, picture, goodbye. This is a relationship that's formed for 4 days, and they all tell me, we've gotten, we make our best friends, and the bigger stars say, I always see your campers in the front row. I said, well, you know why they're in the front row? Once they got to jam with you, they can't sit 5 rows back. They only want
exactly.
they want to be in the closest thing to the stage with you. So
Exactly. Glued to their hip.
they're glued to their hip.
Yeah.
To me, someone who saw the film yesterday called me up and said, David, to me, it's not about the stars. It's not about the campers. I love what the power of music did for those two youngsters in the film.
Oh, yeah.
And that really, that's what it's about. If you love music, you'll get out of the funk,
You will.
it's like Tony Robbins says, make a move. We all go through this, make a move,
Yes.
pick
Yes.
up a guitar, learn to play one song on the keyboards.
Right.
There's music will take you out of your funk.
You bet. I always say you have two choices when you are in a funk, the negative path or the positive, and learning an instrument, especially right now with what we're going through and we have to stay home so much, learning an instrument, playing, having that mental vacation from everything is unbelievable.
Well, that's what I'm glad that they released the film now. We're all going through so much,
Yeah.
and unlike the other music films that are out there behind the music, they all. I remember we used to joke on when we were on touring with Ringo. It starts off a band makes it to the top, then all of a sudden they do drugs, and the manager steals all the money, and then all of a sudden they make it back up. And you just put the band in there, name the band. Here, the film takes you straight up. You
Right.
start it and then you get invested in it, and you walk away with a great feeling. And I'm hoping that motivation and the time that we're in now in the world and COVID, you'll get a smile and you'll really get motivated.
Now, the film was released January 15th, right?
It was released in 100 movie theaters virtually.
Okay.
So because it couldn't go anywhere. So it's virtually, it's on basically websites of 100 movie theaters, and also if they go to rockcampthemovie.com, they'll find any one of those theaters. So it'll be great to support them now. And also there's an any town. And then February 16th, it gets released on Apple and Amazon and everywhere you can buy it. And so yeah, we're looking forward to that too.
I want to touch on your very special relationship. I mean, you have a special relationship with a lot of musicians, but Ringo Starr, could you take us back to when you first connected with him?
So I was putting together the All-Star. I was putting together these packages of the Turtles and the Grass Were Happy Together and Dirty Dancing, and I was doing Dirty Dancing as a live tour. The president of Pepsi called me when it was over, and he said, David, he said, we love what you do, and we do very well with our products. So we use the tickets for our barters and get our sodas into 7-Eleven, and we wanted can you create a tour for us for the 25th anniversary of the Pepsi generation? And I went with the concept, and I said I always had this in mind, was putting Ringo and an all-star band together. My brother Joey grew up with Ringo also, those drummers in the 60s.
Sure.
And so I wrote a letter to him, and about 6 months later, his lawyer said, come over to England. And I pitched him on the idea. I got to meet him. I remember staying in the hotel room in London for a week, and back then we didn't have cell phones, so I was reading every book in case he asked me any Beatle question. And and I went in with pitched him the idea, and he said, I had the same idea. And then he told me he wanted Joe Walsh in the band, and the guys Levon Helm, and I gave him some ideas that I thought would work, and we created this together, and it was very special. 15 years I was on the road. At 90% of the shows. He's an amazing man. He's passionate. I think the thing you can learn about him is it's all about the band. He loves being in a band, and it's not about him. It's about pushing everybody else, and when the interviews came in, he said, give it to Nils, give it to those people, let them push their careers. And
Amazing.
I learned a lot. And I think the other thing I learned from him was when I was doing the camps is I would go to him with certain musicians, and he said, "No, I'm not letting that person in my band." I said, "Well, they can sell tickets," and he said, "No, they got to be a good person," and that's
Mm,
and that to me is because he says you got to work with them. Alice Cooper's the same way. When he picks his band, he interviews them because he said we got to live with them, and
right.
he picked great people. So I learned so much. I mean, to be around a Beatle for 15 years was amazing. And
Amazing.
more important, he's so in love with his wife, and I was able to get remarried and have kids now again, and 7 grandkids, but I have teenagers, so
What a blessing.
you can learn a lot from him. You can learn a lot from him, from
Could
all these
you,
rockers.
I was going to say, could you ever imagine, you grew up Orthodox, correct?
Yeah, I am Orthodox. Yeah,
So you're Orthodox, and look at the life you have.
I know, right? And I know I'm very lucky, and yeah, my dad was a cantor, and we were raised Orthodox, and I always said the synagogues were conservative and the people were Reformed. That was my little running joke, but no, I was raised Orthodox, and I still maintain it. And
Hmm.
I live here in Hancock Park. Our son-in-law's a rabbi. My brother's a rabbi. So I didn't want to be a rabbi, but you know,
And then, and then you integrate the rock and roll life.
integrate the rock and roll life. Yeah, I thank God I don't do the drugs and all the stuff that goes with rock and roll. I
Yeah.
love the creativity part of it,
Yeah.
and I love the people. It's amazing to be around all these creative people and see how smart they are. And from a business point of view, I wrote this book years ago called Rock Your Business, and to me the goal was what you can learn from these rock stars. If you look at 50 years ago, the brands that aren't even around today versus Aerosmith, Kiss, the Beatles. So many of these bands, you can learn so much from their marketing and how they've kept their fan bases up, and the
Yes.
Scorpions, and how successful they are, and they're bigger than ever. And maybe in this country, but around the world. I mean, a band like Kiss sells out stadiums where they go, and Aerosmith 50,000 people, and they did in Israel, and
Yeah.
so you can really learn about these from these bands a lot in marketing and business.
I was thinking about how music from the 70s and 80s, especially the 70s, not negating the 60s, but the power of Aerosmith. I remember being 12 and listening to Walk This Way, taking cassettes to camp, and my friends were like, "What is that?" And I would be playing, all their songs, and just how it's just lasts so long. And so the people that come to the camp, they're just huge fans of these
That's the
artists.
goal. No, they're huge fans, and I think what I love about it is we take them back to their childhood and remind them what it was like before anyone hurt them, before they went through any funk, before they went through anything. When those happy
Anything.
years, that
Right.
to me is what the goal is to bring
Yeah.
them back to
Joy.
their joy,
Yeah.
and from there, and let them forget about all the hurt, and then they can grow and build from there. So for
Right.
me, rock camp is the process. It's a process of bringing them through this and then letting them walk away a new person. I have to tell you, I did something like called the Hoffman process years ago.
What is that?
And okay, it's amazing. HoffmanInstitute.org. It's a place where I went away for 7 days. And, it deals with our parents. Our parents have given us a lot of positive energy, positive traits, and they've given us a lot of negative traits.
Oh, yeah.
And we take those negative traits and either what do we do? Either copy them or we do the opposite. And this program helps you get them out of your system and build you up to that David, start you off in life when you were 1 years old and build you up
Wow.
to who you are. And not because everybody's carrying their parents, mother here, their father here, and they're all trying to please. We're all trying to please our parents.
Hmm.
It's like my kids, daddy, daddy, mommy, mommy. Everybody wants to please their parents. And what
Yeah.
about if I could just be me, what I'm about?
Yeah.
And this program is just incredible. It changed my life. And I really took the concept of what I learned at Hoffman and integrated it more into my rock camps.
That's
And
amazing.
yeah, and that's why it's become life changing.
And how did you hear about that?
So I was, dating a woman in California, and she recommended it to me. And I had just gotten divorced, and she said, you should try this Hoffman process. And you know what? I decided. I was on the road for 3 months with Ringo, 3 months with the Monkees. I was 6 months on the road, and I said, you know what? I'm going to do something like that
Hmm.
because growing up in rock and roll and growing up on tour. You go on tour and it's basically carte blanche. You don't have to, you have the tour managers, they tell you what to do, where to go. Sometimes you lose your discipline and you lose
Right.
your life and you get so enthralled in the business. And this I was able, someone told me about it. It's become very popular, I mean, she's come out publicly. Katy Perry, she went.
Okay.
John Denver's gone. Bonnie Raitt's gone. A lot of people, and it's been articles about it. You can Google
Very
that.
healing, it sounds like.
Very healing, and
Yeah.
it's a lot of work, self work on yourself.
Hmm.
But it really changed my life, and to the point where I didn't want to go on tour anymore. Money wasn't really the issue in my life. It really became about doing good for other people, changing people's lives,
Beautiful.
and it was really life changing for me.
It's
And
amazing.
yeah, and it's get the funk out. It's exactly what you're about.
It sure is, because I told you I lost a friend 10 years ago and I was in a massive funk. And so every time I have gone through something like losing my dad or whatever, I do turn to music or, great introspection or writing, things like that. Yeah.
Right, and it's amazing how you can just change your mind, and I think about Tony Robbins. He said make a move.
Hmm.
All those things, because our minds play such games with ourselves, and
Definitely.
Hoffman really gave me a lot of the tools that really helped me. I think of every day.
I'm gonna have to look
So
that up.
yeah, you really should. It's really amazing. It's an amazing program.
Without
Hoffman
giving too much
Institute.
away,
Sure.
anything else you want people to know about the film?
I tell people will enjoy the film and walk away saying, I can do that. I can do that. I can do whatever I want to do. I can and have no fears and just be happy and we're coming into good times. We are coming into good times. Live music will come back. We'll get this pandemic under control. And I think that the world will get united.
I often think about what it's going to be like when we can get together, we can play as musicians,
And you have
hug.
to come to rock camp. You
What?
have to come. You have to come to rock camp.
I know.
Yeah.
I told you, I couldn't afford it years ago, but then the more I look at it, and then it was intimidating because I'm not this
Intimidating.
phenomenal
It's not.
guitarist.
Yeah, because the money's the same price as a cruise. It really is. It's not expensive. It used to be. We used to do it, and we used to do it in London, but I think the price has really come down. We brought the price down. Let anybody come. Come and you'll come as a member of the press. Honestly, I wish I could give it away for free because I really see the life changing experience it does, and but so that's to me. But yeah, you have to come. You're my guest, and
Thank you.
you can broadcast live from there and catch some of these interviews with some of these rockers.
That's amazing. I would love that. I usually cover NAMM, so I'm usually supposed to be at NAMM this week and
Yeah,
the
me
She
too.
Rocks Awards and all that. Yeah,
So we're going. We're giving the film to NAM this week to
good.
air live. I mean, for 5 days, and the money's 100% of the money's going to the NAM Music Foundation. And I wanted to
Fantastic.
give it to other musicians so they get to learn about rock camp and
Yeah.
yeah, no, I was just talking about NAM, how amazing it is, but unless you go ahead of time and make appointments, you're never gonna, you'll sit there and just a lot of noise.
Oh, it's crazy. I remember going last year and just the lines. And then one
Right.
year, Gene Simmons was behind me and it was like the
Yeah,
crowd, And I remember going up to him and it's like, hey, can I take a picture with you? He's like, you don't even have to ask. Just take the picture. Just take the picture now, because he just gets swarmed,
he
you
gets
know?
swarmed there. He gets swarmed there. Yeah, they all get swarmed there. So Irvine, one of my first clients was Vince Ferragamo, and
Wow.
so I used to hang out a lot at his house in Irvine. It's amazing how Irvine has changed over the last 25 years.
Tremendously. Yes. Yeah.
Tremendously, yeah, big community there.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so now, so tell me about the radio station you're on. It's
So this is KUCI 88.9 FM in Irvine, and we broadcast 24/7 from UC Irvine since 1969.
wow,
And right now we're all remote since March, but we've all been doing our shows. And I made it into this on camera option for people because I like to be able to meet you face to face.
it's great.
The
Yeah,
the
we live up.
upside,
What?
the upside of COVID.
Yeah, yeah, the upside of COVID. So I'm doing okay every night. I'm doing master classes, and I'm doing these master. Done 150 so far.
Whoa.
And yeah, if you go to my website, then you come on and join us. We have different rock stars every night offering their knowledge and talking about people paying to zoom in. That's what I turned the business around during COVID, and they've been fun. I got Roger Daltrey doing them, and I have the Def Leppard, Joe Elliott, and
Love that band.
yeah,
Yeah.
Sticks, and they're giving the money to their crews, and it's some,
That's
and then we got
awesome.
guitar, so there's guitar classes. You'll have to come on Joel Hoekstra. He gives a good master class on guitar. We'll stay
Okay.
in touch. We'll stay in touch, and I'll
You know what I want to ask you
yeah.
is, when you first started this, were there people that you were completely, awestruck, or is it never ending that you're thinking, pinch me, Slash is in the room? I mean,
Oh yeah. Oh, that's a good question. You know what? I got that with the Monkees. I was a Monkee fan, so when I first met the Monkees, I'm so past it, because I was really raised a sports fan, and my brother's that way.
mhm.
To me, it's I don't get no of these people. I get no of their talents.
Yes,
Um,
I agree.
when Zach Wild started showing me on guitar what metal music is, and I said, wow. So that's when I got to love guitar. No, I'm in awe of people. So
I love it.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's the most important thing for me. And if they're good people, that's the more important. And a lot of rockers have turned me down. I get turned down.
Really?
Yeah, when I first started, oh yeah, the right man Sarah at doors said, I'm not doing this.
Oh,
And yeah, so I've had people turn it. Sure, people turn it down. They don't think it's hip. They don't want to share with people. It takes a very good person to want to do this. They're not doing it for the money. They're doing it because they
right.
want to share their knowledge, and the business has been very good to them. And I think Nancy Wilson said the best line to me was, we start in the business, we try to make it, we make it, we make it. And then
Mhm.
all of a sudden it becomes about, we finally make it, lawyers, agents, managers, lawsuits. And this camp is pure music. So it
Yeah.
really takes them back to where they first started. So I think that's
Sure.
why they enjoy coming back. We freeze?
And let me just say
Are
that
we
Nancy's
frozen?
being
Frozen?
honored at the She Rocks on Friday. Did you hear me?
Oh, this week she's being
Yeah,
honored?
she's being honored. The She Rocks
Yeah,
Awards
yeah. Being honored
broadcasting.
to She Rocks?
Yeah, on Friday, which is being streamed.
Will you see her? Will you be talking to her?
I don't think I can get an
Okay.
interview with her, but
Yeah, she was great in the film. She
I'm going to
loved.
inquire. I'm going to ask. Yeah. So this is amazing.
She's a great lady. Yeah.
Oh, I
She's a
love that
very
band.
special.
Yeah. And how long have you known her?
Yeah, yeah. I've known Nancy. Well, I try to get them for a long time, and then I finally got Jerry Cantrell, and I guess Cantrell told her on a Saturday that he did the appearance, and Sunday morning her manager texted me and said that Nancy wants to do the camp, and she's done a bunch of them, and she's a really giving person, and we're gonna do a women's only. We're gonna do a women's only master class with her, and I did that with
Fantastic.
Lita Ford. That's those.
Oh,
I want to do more of those. I want to do more of those because so many women will feel more comfortable in a room to
yeah,
ask women what it's like. And
sure.
by the way, you check out Hoffman. It's unbelievable.
I'm going to have to. Yeah.
HoffmanInstitute.org. And I'm telling you, it is, and they'll give scholarships, and it's really amazing. It really life changing.
I'm
Oh,
gonna have to.
yeah,
All right. So David, this has been amazing. Give your website one more time and where people can find out more about you.
okay. It's rockcamp.com to find out all about the camps and the master classes, and the movie is rockcampthemovie.com. And I hope you'll
Fantastic.
enjoy it.
All right. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.